Are you deficient in vitamin B12? Well, if you're like most people, you have no idea. But also like most people, there's a very good chance that you are deficient in B12. So in this video, let's look at the signs and symptoms of a B12 deficiency and what will happen, in your body when you don't have enough. And this is particularly important if you're over the age of 50. Now, the fact is, B12 does so much for you that if you don't have enough, you're going to develop health issues. Vitamin B12 aids in digestion. It helps your red blood cells to divide. It protects your nervous system. And of course, those are three critical and very fundamental aspects to life and proper body function. So let's look at some of the early warning signs of a B12 deficiency. All right, so fatigue and depression, lack of focus, loss of appetite, tingling in the hands and the feet, glossitis, which is inflammation of the tongue, and mouth ulcers. Those are some of the early symptoms. And then as the problem progresses, muscle weakness and anemia, shortness of breath and dizziness, confusion, memory loss, weight gain or weight loss, and I'll explain that in a few minutes, mood changes, pale or jaundiced skin, high homocysteine blood levels, which can lead to stroke and heart disease and Alzheimer's. So there's it's a wide-ranging, list of symptoms. Now, because B12 is so crucial, and to very basic human biology, a long-term deficiency can lead to some very severe consequences. It can result in permanent damage, like blindness or deafness or dementia. Now, B12 is a key component in the synthesis and maintenance of myelin, which is the fatty substance that forms the protective coating on your nerves. Myelin is what allows electrical impulses to transmit efficiently across your nerves, and throughout your body. And so a lack of myelin or damaged myelin, leads to neurological symptoms and is linked to things like multiple sclerosis. So, if you're not getting enough vitamin B12, the integrity of your nerves are at risk. And at best, that's going to impact your health, in a bad way. And in some cases, it's going to lead to some severe health problems. Now, your body also needs vitamin B12 for metabolism and muscle contraction. That's why one of the first and most common signs of a B12 deficiency is body fatigue. And of course, when you start to feel run down, it's sort of like a domino effect, because soon after that, it's common to experience mood changes and loss of appetite, and feeling like you don't want to be active. And this is where it's interesting, and a bit confusing, because vitamin B12 deficiency can lead to either weight loss, due to the decreased appetite, or weight gain, as a result of the mood changes and the fatigue and inactivity. So the bottom line is a deficiency in B12 is problematic. Vitamin B12 also helps your body clear an amino acid called homocysteine, which is a natural byproduct of protein metabolism. And you don't want to have high levels of homocysteine because too much homocysteine is linked to heart disease, stroke, and Alzheimer's. Your homocysteine level, would be something that your doctor should be checking, on your regular blood work. And the symptoms of high homocysteine are similar to a B12 deficiency. Here's who's likely to be vitamin B12 deficient. If you're over the age of 50, if you eat a vegan or vegetarian diet, if you've had GI surgery, or you take drugs which make it difficult for you to absorb B12, right? Like metformin or antacids or epilepsy drugs or gout drugs. Also certain diseases like Crohn's disease and celiac, or if your stomach acid is weak or you're low on stomach acid. All of those things could make you susceptible to a B12 deficiency. Now, in order to absorb vitamin B12, your stomach acid has to separate the B12 from the animal protein in the foods. The problem with this is that, as you age, you tend to produce less stomach acid, and so you get less B12 from from the food in your diet. To handle this, you can take a B12 supplement, which doesn't require that separation process. And that'll help you to get your levels up. And of course, you can take digestive enzymes with your meals to help break down the animal protein, and separate the B12 that's in your food. You'll find B12 in things like grass-fed beef and lamb, in poultry, particularly in organ meat, and in fish, especially wild-caught salmon, mackerel, and herring, and sardines and tuna. And that's why vegans and vegetarians are at risk for having low B12 levels, and why it's important for them to supplement with vitamin B12. Another key is that B12 and folic acid, or folate, depend on each other. So a deficiency in one of those things will create a deficiency in the other. So if you're being treated for a folate deficiency, it's a good idea to assume that you may be deficient in B12 also, and supplement with that at the same time. Of course, it's always a good idea to find out why you have whatever nutrient deficiency you're looking into. This is why you want to correct the underlying cause. For most people, solving a B12 deficiency is pretty simple, and you can do it with dietary changes and supplementation. If you're over 50 or you don't eat much animal protein, or you're on a drug that might cause a B12 deficiency, you should consider a B12 supplement. And the dosage could be between 25 and 100 micrograms per day. It's water soluble, so what that means is anything that your body doesn't need will actually come out in your urine. I've included B12 in several of my products on BodyManual.com, and you can get enough B12 support from both Super Energy Boost, which is one of the products, and also another product called Multivitamin and Mineral. And as you probably could guess, both contain folate as well, so you can handle any deficiencies there. All right, so if you think you may be deficient, make sure you review what I've covered in this video and get it implemented in your life right away. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That way, you'll be notified as my new videos come out. All right, I'll see you there.